This is your one and only FireSpark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and welcome back to another informational Valheim video. Today we're talking about boats and speed. Let's get to it. So I had a comment the other day asking about the speed when it comes to tacking, which is making a zigzag pattern when you do not have wind going in the direction you need it. So you sail one way, catching the wind, then you sail back the other way, and that ends up making a zigzag pattern, catching the edges of the wind. So they wanted to know the speed of that versus the speed of just paddling. And in most cases, going in a straight line is always going to be faster than not going in a straight line. So you would think that paddling would be faster than going in a zigzag, but that is contingent on the fact that paddling, or whatever speed you're moving in a straight line, is moving at a decent speed compared to whatever the zigzag pattern thing is moving. So I thought, well, let's set up something and try to test this because that's an interesting idea. And on top of that, there's some other things that I wanted to test in relation to boat speed as well. So we're just going to test all of those things and talk about them today. So what I did here is I just found an area where I had two shores that were relatively close together so that I could run these tests. And then I lined the boats up using some building pieces to make sure that they were starting from the exact same spot. And then I just ran them into those building pieces. This ensured that I was always starting from the exact same spot. And then I just made the trip across the waterway, hit my end location, and then reset and did that with whatever other thing that I was testing. Then I put those clips into my editing software and I lined them up based on when I initially started to move, and I used the arrows as the indicator for that. So when you hit forward and you get that first little arrow that pops up over top the ship's wheel symbol, that's where I line them up at. So that way we had frame to frame accuracy. And then when they hit the end location and I saw the numbers pop up to indicate that they hit that location, I just want one frame back, and that's where I stopped it at. So we have frame for frame accuracy here. All of the clips that we're going to take a look at are going to play out in real time so that you have an accurate representation of speed. And the first thing that we are going to take a look at are the two ships, the small one and the large one, versus each other at full speed, full wind, to see which one is faster. And as you can see, the large ship is much faster than the smaller one. The difference in time here was about 16 seconds. Now, while that doesn't seem like a ton of time, it's going to be noticeable and it's going to add up really quickly on larger trips. In the next test, we're going to look at not having any wind and tacking compared to paddling. And just as I originally suspected before I started doing this test, the paddling is much faster. You're going in a straight line, and paddling is already pretty fast in this game to begin with. So even though you always have the wind and we're going at max speed, it takes time to turn, and you're also going in a zigzag pattern. So if you are going to a destination and you lose the wind or don't have the wind right from the get-go, don't even bother tacking, just go in a straight line. There's about a minute and 16 seconds difference in time here that it took the tacking ship to reach its destination compared to the one that was just paddling. That's a pretty large difference in time, and that is going to definitely add up if you're going a long distance. In this next test, we're going to take a look at having the wind and sailing at max speed compared to just paddling. And obviously having the wind is going to make all the difference, and you're going to go much faster, but it honestly wasn't as fast as I thought. There was about a 29-second time difference here, and I knew paddling was pretty fast, but honestly I thought the difference was going to be way larger than what it was. Now for all of these tests, I did control the wind. I didn't just go all willy-nilly into this with allowing the game to control the wind. I went into admin commands, I set the wind. So for the tests where we didn't have any wind, I made sure we didn't have any wind in the proper direction. And when I mean no wind, I mean no wind at all in the direction that I was moving. And when we were testing with wind, we always had full wind. Speaking of wind, in the next test, I wanted to see how much of a difference in speed we got with an increase in wind speed. So we did a wind 0.2, just in case you don't know, with the wind command, the max is like 1.0. So I did 0.2 versus 0.8, and that was with max wind in our sails. And as you can see from that test, it does make a bit of a difference, about a 20-second difference. Now do note that the wind speed increase can throw your ship off. We didn't stay in a straight line there, and I had to course correct a little bit with that increased wind speed, because as we sail into the waves and we hit those waves, it shifts the front of our boat a little bit. So provided that you can stay in a straight line and not deal with that, it could be possible to get an even better time, or it could also be possible to get an even worse time, depending on how well you can control your ship in high winds. Now, in this last test, I wanted to see if there was a difference in paddle speeds between the two ships, the large ship and the small ship. I was wondering, because if the large ship is faster when it has the wind, if it was faster while we were paddling it, or if it was slower because it's bigger. So as you can see from those clips, there is a slight difference there, but it's not enough that I'm going to say that there's a difference in speed. I'm going to say from these results, the speed for paddling is the exact same no matter what ship you are in. I think the difference that we saw there is because this ship is just larger. So even though we started from the exact same start point, we hit ever so slightly sooner because it's just a bigger ship. And there's a lot of little tiny things that can interfere with the tests that could cause a difference in speed. So keep that in mind with all of these tests. Everything from just, even though I have low waves on and we're only sailing at 0.2 wind, there's still waves there that can affect the ship ever so slightly. So I'm going to say that there's no difference in ship speed when you're just paddling. There is definitely a difference with wind speed. Now, I know some of you are going to ask about the raft. No, don't build a raft. That's it. Now, with the tests that I've done here, you should be able to answer pretty much any question you have with ships and speed by extrapolating the data from what we have in these tests here. If for some reason you're not great at that and you just want to know, feel free to ask down in the comments section and I'll do my best to answer them. Now, of course, this is just going to be assuming the answer based on the data that we have here, but it should be relatively accurate based on the data that we have here. And if you are a person who is good at extrapolating data, and you see a question and you can answer it, by all means, feel free to help me out down there in the comments. Let's get a bunch of discussions going. And I always love seeing people help out other people and answer questions down in the comments section. All right, I think that pretty much covers all of the stuff for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful and informational. If you did, do the YouTube quests. You know what they are. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff so you can be notified. Oh, hit the bell so you can be notified. You know the YouTube stuff. I want to give a massive thank you to my supporters on Patreon for making this episode possible. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.